Okay, the next halacha we're learning is called kosher. Kosher and matir. It's the same halacha but the opposite. Kosher means tying, matir means untying. Okay, so the two malachas in Shabbos, they used to tie a lot of things together in the Beis Hamikdash, in the Mishkan, and they used to undo the knots that they make. So basically, it's forbidden to make a knot. Now there are certain knots which are biblically forbidden to make, and some are rabbinically forbidden to make, and some are permitted to make. Okay? So you have three different categories about the different types of knots. Okay? For instance, here. Okay. Now, tying, it doesn't matter what the material is, as long as it's soft, that you can tie it. It could be plastic, paper, ribbon, thread, rope, whatever it is. Tying a handkerchief, in a knot. All that would be considered knot.
Next time.
Well, we're going to see about that, okay? Now, according to all opinions, if a knot is permanent, and it's a professional knot, according to all opinions, it's definitely biblically forbidden. Now, what's the definition of a permanent knot? What does permanent mean? So some opinions say if it's more than 24 hours, it's called a permanent knot. Other opinion, halacha says, which is not so much accepted, if it's more than 7 days. A knot that lasts more than 7 days is considered a permanent knot. So some poskim hold that in order to be really considered a biblically forbidden knot, it must meet both conditions. It has to be a professional knot, and a professional knot, by the way, is, as Shulchan Aruch says, like the ship guys, when they would tie the ship to anchor it in the port, or they would tie on a camel. They would tie a rope around the camel, whatever. So that would be a professional knot that was made, not a regular knot that we make. So it was considered a professional knot, and therefore it would be biblically forbidden according to all opinions. Other opinions say, no, if it's even one of the two, it's also considered a biblical knot. So it would be biblically forbidden. Other people say the main thing is not so much the permanent knot, but how long the knot is going to last. And we're going to discuss all the practical things of what the halacha is and the practical examples of this. It's much more than we think it is, by the way. Because whatever you're not allowed to knot, you're not allowed to unknot. That means if you have a package that was knotted before Shabbos, now I want to untie it. So sometimes if it's a knot that you're not allowed to make, then you're not allowed to unmake it. You're not allowed to undo the knot because, again, it's a knot that was... What? Yeah, rip it would be much better. We're going to get into all these things, okay? So, for instance, Maisa Umen, professional knot, the Gemara says, like we said, the camel drivers or the ships. So now the question is, what is the definition of a professional knot today? Because years ago, the halacha defined what a professional knot was. Okay, but now the question is, we don't know what a professional knot is. Therefore, the halacha is any double knot is called a professional knot that's made really to last an extended period of time. A single knot tied in with a single strand of rope would also be regarded as a professional knot. In other words, what happens if you have a string, and you tie it, you make a knot on it. So even if it's a single knot, that would be called a permanent knot, because sometimes it's very hard to take apart, and it would be considered a professional knot. But what happens if you have like a shoelace? Okay, so how do you tie it? You make a single knot, and then you make a bow on top of it. Okay? So that is a question now, is that called a permanent knot or not? So if you're planning to take it out within 24 hours, then it's not called a permanent knot. We said, one opinion says a week, but the halacha is, and any knot that's going to last more than a day, is a question if it's called a permanent knot or not. So let's say if a person ties shoes, and then they come home after shul, they untie the shoes. So when you made the knot, you knew it wasn't going to last for 24 hours. So that's not a problem at all, that's allowed. But
what if you're going to untie them, but you just kick them off instead?
yeah, but if your intention was when you made the knot, that you're planning to keep it for a long... I'll tell you an example. A lot of people, when they tie shoes, okay, because the single knots a lot of times come out. Yes, what do? They'll double knot it. They'll make a double knot on it with the bow, but they'll double knot it. So those people who are lazy, so they'll usually, like you say, kick off the shoe, and then when they want to put on the shoe, they'll stick the foot into it. So what happens if that knot, let's say in your shoe, comes apart? And you want to retie it on Shabbos, so you're not allowed to retie it definitely with a double knot. Because the intention of that knot is to last for more than 24 hours. And in fact, a lot of times it's even interested in lasting more than a week too. As long as it lasts, it's going to last. And people that, lazy people that don't tie their shoes. But by the way, you ever notice in the Hasidic garb of the Streimelach and the white socks and all that stuff, there are no laces on the shoes. Why? They shouldn't come to the question of tying with knots and making a knot. What do you think the reason is?
Maybe the style was back then, the aristocracy wore the same.
So it's a little bit more than the style. It's actually because they don't want to deal with the issues of knotting a shoe or untying the shoe. We'll get to later, I think we'll get there today. But you have an issue, for instance, kids' shoelaces. So kids are running around, their laces come apart in a second. So a lot of times parents double knot it. So if you're going to double knot it, the question is like this. According to many opinions, even if you double knot it, but if you're planning to take it out that day, within 24 hours, so then it's not considered a permanent knot. Even though it's a double knot, but your intention is, you're going to untie it.
You can untie it.
Now, there's another issue with knots. Again, I'm just get general things because as we go in the next few days, we're going to learn more of the details. There are opinions in halacha that hold any knot that you could take out with one hand. Any knot that you don't need both hands to take it out. Any knot that you could take out with one hand. There are opinions in halacha that say that's not called a permanent knot. The fact that you could take it out with one hand shows it's not such a permanent knot. Because if it would be a permanent knot, you wouldn't be able to take it out. Right. So that's another opinion that we'll get into this. I'll tell you another interesting example. Today it's not very practical because today when you tie the Sefer Torah, there's usually Velcro. Okay? But years ago, those that remember, they didn't have these Velcro things. What did they have? They had a long rope, ribbon, whatever, slash it was called, whatever. And they would wrap it around and they would make a bow out of it, right? They would tie with a bow. That's the way they used to do it. So it became a big shaila. People weren't even aware of this. It became a big shaila. Shabbos mincha, because let's say Shabbos morning you tie the Torah, okay? But you're going to use the same Sefer Torah to mincha. So the knot is not there for 24 hours. But what happens by mincha, Shabbos, when you tie the Sefer Torah like that, when are you going to use the Sefer Torah again? Either next Shabbos, or I'm saying either if you only have one Sefer Torah, you can use it Monday. If you have other Sefer Torahs and you switch around, that means you're going to be using this Sefer Torah when next Shabbos. If you're going to be using it next Shabbos, that means the knot is even there for a week. And when you're tying it, you're having in mind that you're going to tie it for the week because you're not using it and even for Monday, it's still more than 24 hours. So there's a whole issue then with tying a Sefer Torah. There are poskim that hold you could do it because it's a mitzvah. We'll get into that later. But a lot of people, what they would do in those cases, they wouldn't tie a knot with a bow, because that would be like a double knot. You could take it out very easily, but it's made to last longer. So they could make a single knot and then tuck it in. rather than tie it, they would actually tuck it in. There shouldn't be. Nowadays, it's not an issue. We have Velcro or the hooks or whatever it is. What? Yeah, but who does that? You're right. The Gabi would go and do it, but again, that's it. The guy, when he made the knot, knows that that's what's going to happen also.
The Torah tying is your Ashkenazi problem, not ours.
You have bigger problems.
At least there is one
Well,
problem that you have and we don't.
That's true. One problem is you guys have less than us. Yes. Because you have a different Torah than we have. Okay, anyway. So that a professional knot is no good. If it's not going to remain in place longer than 24 hours is an issue. Okay? So you have the same thing, but we have to go down in a minute. But you have the same thing. Can you make a necktie on Shabbos? Can you make a tie on Shabbos?
Yeah.
So what's a lot of times, lazy people, they'll make a tie, and then they won't undo the tie. They'll loosen the tie, and they'll take it over the head. They'll take it off over the head, and the next time they want to wear a tie, they'll put it again over the head, and right? So 1 second. So if a guy makes a tie on Shabbos morning, okay, and he's not planning to take it off on Shabbos, he's just planning to take it off the head, but not undo the knot, then you wouldn't be able to make such a knot on Shabbos. You couldn't tie the tie on Shabbos. Because then the knot is lasting for more than 24 hours. So that would be in... Huh? Yeah, you're right. I'm saying on Shabbat... You're right, before Shabbos is not an issue. I'm saying what happens if the guy takes the tie out from his Shabbos morning?
So whatever you do
The adjustment is not an issue. It's making the knot. What?
Whatever you do Shabbat morning, if you make a tie, make sure that you untie it before Shabbat.
Before, within 24 hours. Yeah, as long as you take it off that day. Okay. It's like,